Thursday morning, 8:34. We started today at 5. I got lucky. We had a 5 o'clock safety meeting, which I've been to quite a few. And I got out of it because I had a 5 o'clock transfer from the big box at Alamoana, taking it down to their offsite warehouse at Salt Lake. We stood by, offloaded, then reloaded, brought the reloaded can in here to the shipping terminal, and we got 3 more runs, but 2 of them are back at our terminal. So seeing how we're at the shipping terminal, and it's Thursday, the big ship of the week is in, so we're gonna pick up an LTL, seeing how we're headed that way, and take it back to our terminal. So we just hooked up to it. It was a little bit high, but we just barely were able to hook it. So let's see what kind of condition the container's in. Oh, and I got plugged in. It's plugged in. How about this one? Plugged in. Yeah, something electrical on this truck. It's either that or I tripped the circuit breaker and I gotta wait, restart everything, trip it back. I had this happen once before, once or twice before. This one's probably not plugged in. Yeah. And what happens is that something gets unplugged, grounds out, and then it trips the circuit breaker. This might be the culprit right here. Here's another one. Still plugged in. Alright, keep going. There's always a challenge. Simple job, but sometimes not easy. Check these middle ones. That's plugged in. That's plugged in. That's plugged in. Alright. So we're just going to head on down to the bathrooms, use that, turn off the truck, and then turn it back on, and that should reset everything. Yeah, I don't even understand it, but it's happened a few times with this truck. I talked to a mechanic and he says, well, next time it happens, just check all your lights that are not working. Look for one that's not plugged in, because more than likely it shorted out the circuit breaker. Get that one plugged back in, and then shut the thing down for a few minutes, and then start it back up. See what happens. So now when I check my marker lights that aren't working, they're all working now. I don't know what it is, but that's one that makes the most sense to me. So the lights are not on, but the trucks are going in because they're inner island trucks. The scale's all blocked off. That's for the guys that are going in the back door to the inner island shipping terminal, and this way they can avoid in-gating over on that end. They can do it here and just drive straight in. I was hanging out with my wife's realtor friends the other day. They were talking about the high cost of living in Hawaii. Of course, there's only 3 topics that ever makes the news in Hawaii. That's there for as long as I've lived in Hawaii, just about. Number 1 is the high cost of living in Hawaii. Number 1 being housing. My wife being a realtor, she's kind of involved in that. Number 2, of course, is the homeless situation. And then, again, this goes back to housing. The reason we have so many homeless in Hawaii is because of the housing problem. There's no bottom rung. You know, if you're a minimum wage person, you're basically homeless because there's no no housing for that bottom rung person. There's no housing for the top rung person. If you're a doctor making $400,000 a year and you come to Hawaii, figure you're going to buy, you know, $1.5 million home, you go out and take a look at it, and it's a grass shack basically, and you're like, I think I'll just stay where I am. Hawaii is rough. And so, you know, affordable housing for who? It's a situation. So trying to figure out what the answer is. And my answer to the situation short term is, what can we do right now? Find every single home on the island that doesn't have anybody in it and put somebody in it. Find out why there's nobody living there. What's the situation? And put people in it. And a lot of times you're going to find those homes that aren't occupied are investment homes. In other words, wealthy people from all over the world come to Hawaii, buy a home, and just hold on to it because it appreciates so well. It goes up, you know. The area where I live went up 15% last year. 1 year, 15% in housing. So imagine if you owned a $100,000 home and just held on to it for a year. A year later, you'd have $115,000. That's a pretty good investment. And so that's what's happening a lot here in Hawaii. And they shouldn't, you know, that's, to me, a short-term answer to the problem. That was my 2 cents. We talked about it for hours, I think like 3 hours. Anyway, making our way back to our terminal. We got a load of, what is it, tile product headed up to the Pearl City industrial area. Hopefully it's been loaded, and that'll be our next run. Making our way back to our terminal. Looks like you got the light in our favor at the moment. So it's a little after 10. I just finished my lunch. 10:22. Pork chop sandwich. Some chocolate cake. We're working on our 4th movement of the day. After we dropped off an LTL back at the terminal, we heated up our lunch and then hooked up to this full 40-foot container full of thin set material. Brought it up here to a tile installer. We bring it here and then they truck it out to the different high-rises that are being built, where they have like 40 to 60 guys doing flooring in these big high-rises. It's National Guard right across the street. Can't see all the Army equipment though, it's in the back. Or inside the warehouse. But this is Waihona Street, which is the Pearl City industrial area. It's all right along this road here. So yeah, we just live load and standby offload. Takes them about 20 minutes of that. And then we'll either take this empty back to the shipping terminal or back to our terminal. Our next load is actually inside the international shipping terminal. It's a load of construction material going up to a warehouse in the Halava Valley, and that's probably a standby offload or a live load also. It was supposed to be done yesterday, but they couldn't find any 40-foot chassis to haul the container. And I got a question the other day if things are slowing down because of the, was it tariffs? And I've never really seen a slow period in the 20-some years I've been driving trucks. COVID was interesting. I mean, it looked slow, but I was still working 8-10-hour days. There was no traffic. That was great. I'm trying to think of times when I think back right after remember when they had that, like, I think it was 08, there was like a stock market bubble crash. I think it was 08. That was because right after it happened is when I actually got into the stock market. I started because up until that point I just had a 401k. I didn't pay any attention to it, and then they had that crash and we lost like a third of what was in the 401k, and all of a sudden I thought I should pay attention more. Of course it came back, but it took it a good 2 years, I think, 18 months. But yeah, as far as when is it busy, it's hard for me to tell too, because I just work 8-10 hour days. I move 8-10 containers. It's the same every day for me. I'm not in a position where I can really see the wave as well, but I can see when equipment's not available, which means it must be busy because there's no equipment available. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. They couldn't find a chassis to haul the container yesterday, so they're going to send me back today, see if I can find a chassis to haul the container today. So it must be busy. But yeah, hanging loose. Should be out of here in about 10 minutes. $11:21. If you didn't know it, 11:15 inside the shipping terminal is lunchtime. So the ship is here, but nobody's working. Not till 1 o'clock. But we brought back that empty 40-foot container that had the thin set in it. Got it stripped off, parked the chassis. As I was doing that, I got a phone call, and they said that container that you were supposed to pick up from the international shipping terminal, construction material, don't bother going over there because they don't have any chassis. So they weren't able to do it yesterday, and as of right now, we can't do it today. Still, maybe later on this afternoon. In the meantime, I got another load of construction material, and normally we take this to their main warehouse in the airport industrial area, but looking at the paperwork here, this looks different. This looks like it might be going into the Hickam Air Force Base. Dispatch caught that. Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam, yeah. Building 1726. I think I've been there once or twice. So according to this, it's in Alpha 19, stall 38. Right now we're in Alpha 11. Actually, we're in Charlie 11. Stall 69. Let's drop this. Head over to Alpha 19, stall 38. Sixth gear. If you go above 6th gear, you're going too fast inside the shipping terminal. genset chassis. It's on a genset chassis, but there's no genset on the chassis. Alright. So we'll go ahead and get this pre-trip, then head on over to the Hickam Air Force Base. Well, we made our way onto the Hickam Air Force Base. We're headed over to the big distribution warehouse on Kuntz Avenue, which is the road we're on right now. Information I have, it's building 1726. I'm not real familiar with the building numbers, but just like we take the containers over to the Navy Supply Distribution Center, we call it the NEX, they have the same thing in the Air Force and the Army. It's called APHIS. And it's this giant warehouse down here on the ahead on the left. So I'm going to start there. But what we're hauling is construction material, and there's these two warehouses here to the left also, so it could be inside there. Well, I'm going to start at the main warehouse and then work our way back, because I'm not sure exactly what's inside the container. Furniture, if it's hardware, if it's appliances. It doesn't really say anywhere on my paperwork. So it could be any one of these warehouses. I can look for the building number. What was it, 1726? That might help. Right there. See, it's right here on the left of us. For some reason, I don't think it's down there. What I'm looking for is something that looks like a receiving area. Oh, there it says receiving right there. Okay. What's around the block? These are multi-use warehouses, depending on who's doing what. They can be here one day and gone the next, or they can be here for 6 years. This building in front on the left is 1726. See how it says, it shows the building number there, 1722? I don't know if you can see that. This one's 1726. And there's a dock right there. Okay, let's do this. In case they want us to back into that dock, we'll go around this building too. So I have not been to this warehouse before. I've been to the ones way in the back corner. And of course the big big one straight ahead there. That's mostly food, I think. There's a whole refrigerated section there. TSA. I'm sure that's an acronym for something. Like the spot. Push the button, see what happens. Well, that turned into another live load. So we offloaded the it was basically maintenance material, anything, stuff to maintain buildings, not so much construction material. That's the first time I've been to that warehouse. I'm surprised because they say they get containers every week to every month, and they've been there 9 years. We usually deliver to their other warehouse though, which is over in Kaka'ako. Anyway, it's 10 to 1, empty 40-foot container, taking it back to the shipping terminal, Sand Island. Probably like our 6th or 7th movement of the day. Seven miles away, not quite, maybe 6 miles away. The housing here on the right is where my brother-in-law used to live when he was in the Air Force. He was an electrician here at Hickam. O'Malley Gate. I'm not sure why it's called the O'Malley Gate, but that's what it's called. The news, like I was mentioning earlier, there's 3 things in the news all the time in Hawaii. Number 1 is our cost of living. Number 2 is homeless, which is related. And number 3 is the rail system here on the right. And the second phase is due to open to the public in the middle of October. 1 to go. The 3rd phase is like 3 miles from the middle of town. I don't think that'll get done in my lifetime. Well, they say 5 years, but I miles through the middle of town. But yeah, like that can also be related to the high cost of living, because they spend all this money on the rail. It goes over budget over time, and nobody uses it. It doesn't fix anything. It's just kind of like a guilty pleasure for the politicians, I think. We're making our way past the airport, headed back to Sand Island. So we were inside the shipping terminal, and they said run over here to the other shipping terminal and pick up a full container and take it over to the Inter Island shipping terminal to help out a driver who's basically been doing that all day long. He had a whole stack of containers. And he wanted to get them all done, but he was running behind because of all the waiting in lines. So me and another driver, there's the other driver, pulling in right now. Came over and we did a couple runs. So now he's all done. It's 2:30. Everything closes up at 3:45. So we got another hour and 15 minutes to get something done. So we're gonna head over to the other shipping terminal now. Pick up an LTL and take that back to our terminal. I think it's an LTL. She didn't say, but I'm assuming. Yeah, the Inter Island shipping terminal was it was exciting, I'd say. There was a lot going on over there today. Where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this will be our 10th movement that we're headed over to pick up. All this new pavement. Of course, it's only a matter of time before they come in and add a whole bunch of speed bumps like they have right here. 313. Sold 23. 261903. Is that what they gave me? 261903. Yep. We'll get hooked up, we'll get a pre-trip, take it back to our terminal. 10th movement of the day. So that's it, we can shut it down. 3:17 on a Thursday. Turn off the vital air conditioning. Last day of July. So it's been extremely hot the last 2 weeks, and that's going to continue for another 10 weeks. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was home just, I think it was like 2:30 in the afternoon, and all I wanted to do was just lay on the floor and cuddle my fan, because the floor is the coolest part of the house. When you don't have air conditioning. And I was thinking about that. I says, you know, here in Hawaii, we avoid going outside and playing in the weather during the summer right now for about 12 weeks. First 2 weeks of July, the last 2 weeks of July and the first 2 weeks of October. That's kind of the hot, you know, over 85 degree, 70-75% humidity. It's and the UV factor is like a 13 or 14, so you go outside in 10 minutes you get a sunburn. And so you have to avoid being outside during that time of year, just like those who have areas where they have a couple months of winter. You probably avoid going outside during that time. So I guess it all evens out in the end. But yeah, this is probably the most miserable time in Hawaii to be outside, unless you really enjoy, you know, the sun. The older you get, like me, you know, at 65, I don't enjoy it that much. When I was younger, I was out in the sun all day long, you know, and my skin has the scars from it. But yeah, I was just thinking about the other day. It's hot. It's hot. Air conditioning off, and the truck is already hot. Well, that's it. We came in at 5. We'll be out of here by 3:30. We did 10 container movements. We drove 82 miles. Headed home. We're gonna make a wonton stir fry, shrimp wonton stir fry. It not only has shrimp wontons, but actual shrimp with some vegetables and yeah, and noodles. I like it with noodles. So the big fat noodles. I don't know what they're called, like chow, some type of noodle. It's not an egg noodle. It's thicker. But that's what's for dinner. Shrimp stir fry. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Aloha.